Tonight, the Middle East is reeling from a dramatic shift after 12 days of intense conflict. A ceasefire has been declared between Iran and Israel. The announcement came not from diplomats, but from U.S. President Donald Trump on Truth Social, signaling a breakthrough after days of escalating violence. The war saw devastating strikes on both sides, hundreds killed, and the world on edge until this sudden, fragile peace. Yet even as the ceasefire was announced, missile sirens still blared and both sides eyed each other warily, underscoring just how quickly calm could shatter. Behind the ceasefire, hidden from the public eye and even from many within the government, was a covert U.S. operation. Operation Midnight Hammer, a mission so secretive that only a handful of top officials knew its true scope. While the world watched diplomatic negotiations unfold on television, a parallel story was being written in the shadows, one that would alter the balance of power in the region for years to come. This operation changed the game overnight, sending shockwaves through global capitals and intelligence agencies alike. The world awoke to a new reality, one where the rules had been rewritten in a single, decisive stroke. Under the cover of darkness, B-2 stealth bombers, America's most advanced and elusive aircraft, took off from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. Flying a grueling non-stop mission halfway across the globe, these bombers navigated hostile airspace and evaded detection, their mission clear: to strike at the very core of Iran's nuclear ambitions. Each aircraft carried precision-guided bunker-buster bombs, designed to penetrate deep underground and destroy fortified targets that conventional weapons could never reach. The mission's objective was unambiguous: eliminate Iran's ability to build a nuclear weapon by crippling its most critical facilities. Intelligence had pinpointed the exact locations, and every detail was meticulously planned to ensure maximum impact with minimal collateral damage. In the aftermath, Vice President J.D. Vance addressed the nation and the world, confirming, "Iran can no longer build a nuclear weapon with the tools it had." His words echoed the gravity of the operation, signaling a dramatic shift in the region's strategic landscape. Remarkably, the entire operation was completed without a single American casualty. The flawless execution showcased not only overwhelming U.S. power, but also the precision, discipline, and resolve of its military forces. For those involved, it was a moment of pride and relief, a testament to years of training and technological superiority. In the tense negotiations that followed, this strike became the unspoken leverage behind every word. Iranian officials understood, perhaps for the first time, that escalation would only bring more devastation. The message was clear: the U.S. had both the will and the means to act decisively, and no target was truly beyond its reach. In a calculated tit-for-tat, the U.S. dropped 14 precision bombs, each one a direct response to the 14 missiles Iran had fired at a U.S. base days earlier after providing advance warning. This measured retaliation sent a powerful signal: the U.S. would not be intimidated, and every action would be met with a carefully calibrated response. The aftermath was unmistakable. Iran's most protected assets lay in ruins, and U.S. military jets patrolled the skies as a reminder of what American power could achieve. The message to Iran, and to the world, was unmistakable: the U.S. can respond with far greater force, and even the most fortified defenses are vulnerable when faced with American resolve and technology. Operation Midnight Hammer was a meticulously coordinated assault, targeting Iran's most critical nuclear sites with precision and overwhelming force. The operation's primary focus was the Fordow facility, a site long shrouded in secrecy and heavily fortified against attack. Alongside Fordow, the Isfahan and Natanz nuclear complexes, both essential to Iran's uranium enrichment efforts, were also struck in rapid succession, leaving little time for Iranian defenses to react. The Fordow plant, ingeniously built deep within a mountain to withstand attack, was nonetheless heavily damaged. UN inspectors, arriving days later, confirmed that the facility's enrichment capacity had been completely wiped out, rendering it inoperable for the foreseeable future. But the strikes didn't stop at nuclear sites. Iran's sophisticated missile systems and air defense batteries, which had been upgraded in recent years, were also targeted in a series of coordinated airstrikes designed to neutralize any retaliatory capability. Command centers, the nerve centers of Iran's military operations, were hit with pinpoint accuracy. The destruction of these facilities crippled not only Iran's nuclear ambitions, but also its ability to coordinate a military response or wage war in the immediate aftermath. According to international experts, the damage inflicted has set Iran's nuclear program back by years, possibly even a decade. The loss of advanced centrifuges and critical infrastructure means Iran will struggle to rebuild its capabilities anytime soon. The operation sent a clear and unmistakable message to the world. The United States and Israel are united in their determination to prevent Iran from ever acquiring a nuclear weapon, and are willing to take bold action to enforce that red line. In the aftermath, the balance of power in the Middle East has shifted dramatically, at least for now. Regional leaders and analysts are left to grapple with the new reality, as the world watches to see how Iran and its allies will respond to this unprecedented strike. The ceasefire wasn't a simple stop to fighting, it was a phased, 24-hour process to build trust. First, Iran had to halt all military operations for 12 hours, proving its intent to de-escalate. Once Iran complied, Israel was required to cease its own strikes for the next 12 hours. Only after both sides completed their respective pauses did the full ceasefire take effect. This step-by-step approach, brokered by Qatar, forced both nations to prove their intentions through action, not words. Despite some early violations, the framework held, pulling the region back from the brink. From the start, the US made clear, this was not about toppling Iran's government. The mission was narrowly focused: destroy Iran's nuclear capability, not pursue regime change. Officials, including Vice President Vance, stressed, if the Iranian people want change, that's their decision, not America's mission. A wider war would have been disastrous, uniting Iranians against the US and destabilizing the region. By keeping the operation limited, the US avoided a quagmire and maintained international support. The message to Iran: abandon nuclear ambitions and your regime survives. For Gulf states like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, the war was a nightmare scenario, one that threatened to spill over and disrupt global oil supplies. The US strike on Iran's nuclear program brought relief and reassured these allies of America's commitment to regional security. Oil prices stabilized as the Strait of Hormuz remained open, averting an energy crisis. Yet Gulf leaders remain wary, watching to see if Iran will turn inward or retaliate through proxies. The peace is welcome, but it's fragile. The region's old rivalries haven't disappeared. For now, Gulf capitals are cautiously optimistic but vigilant. The ceasefire holds, but the region's future is uncertain. After weeks of intense conflict, a fragile calm has settled over the Middle East. But beneath the surface, tensions remain high. People return to their daily routines, yet the scars of war are fresh, and the sense of unease lingers in the air. Iran has suspended cooperation with the UN's nuclear watchdog, signaling defiance even after its program was crippled. This move has raised alarm among international observers, who worry that Iran may be preparing to accelerate its nuclear ambitions in secret, away from the eyes of the world. The decision has further isolated Iran diplomatically, deepening the standoff with the West. The US warns any attempt to rebuild will be met with even harsher force. American officials have made it clear that they are monitoring the situation closely, and any sign of renewed nuclear activity or military escalation will trigger swift and decisive action. The message is unmistakable. The US is prepared to act to prevent further destabilization. Israel, though safer for now, remains on high alert for proxy attacks or missile strikes. The military is maintaining a heightened state of readiness, with border patrols and missile defense systems on constant watch. Israeli leaders know that threats from regional militias and hostile neighbors could flare up at any moment, and vigilance is their only option. The war has shifted the balance of power, but not resolved the underlying conflict. Regional alliances are being tested, and old rivalries have resurfaced. Leaders across the Middle East are reassessing their strategies, seeking new partnerships and weighing the risks of further confrontation. The political landscape is more volatile than ever. The coming months will test whether this fragile calm leads to real stability, or is just a pause before the next crisis. Communities along the ceasefire lines remain wary, uncertain if peace will hold, or if violence will return. The world waits to see if diplomacy can succeed where force has failed. The world is watching to see if Iran chooses accommodation or renewed defiance. As global leaders debate their next moves, the choices made in Tehran, Washington, and Jerusalem will shape the fate of the region for years to come. The stakes could not be higher, and the next chapter in the Middle East is about to be written.